A special thank you to the Super Bowl for advertising Epstein's victims and what they are going through right now. This isn't going to go away. We're not going to be quiet about this. They can try to cover it up all they want, but there's too many people that know too much. So when the current president said that Epstein was taking people and he warned him not to do it, those people were teenage girls who were working in a spa. I'm a retired massage therapist, and I cannot for the life of me conceive of why you would hire teenage girls in a spa setting to do a job that they haven't had training to do. And then you know that these employees are being taken by this other guy who has a history of hanging around underage girls. And yet you, a man who wants to be president of the United States, is like, yeah, I told him not to do it. And then when he did it again, I told him, you're out of here. Okay, so you didn't turn him into the authorities thinking, hey, there's this guy that has a history of being a pervert and he's taking teenage girls from my spa at my little country club. Yeah, nothing untoward there. From all the information that I can have access to, it's telling me that Epstein was living in Paris or somewhere in France when Trump was president. And he came back in 2019 because he thought he was going to work in the White House, but he was arrested at the airport and then thrown in prison. And then we know what happened there, or do we? So either he is gone and he had help with making himself gone, because I don't believe he did it on his own, or he's alive, because rich people are really good at hiding. Why Jeffrey Epstein didn't just stay in a country that didn't extradite to the United States if he knew that Trump's DOJ was going to be after him with indictments? Doesn't seem like he came to the United States thinking he was going to get arrested. Do you think he thought that that was what was going to happen? Because I'm pretty sure a rich guy and a very connected guy like Epstein wouldn't have shown up in the United States to be arrested and then unalived in his prison cell. But his brother is supposed to be releasing some information about an autopsy that proves that Epstein didn't do that to himself. Todd Blanche has made it perfectly clear that they don't have any information on the client, so there's not going to be any prosecutions because, why would they? Well, they're apparently not talking with the survivors either, so they had to put together their own commercial, which I'm showing to you now.
After years of being kept apart, we're standing together.
Standing together.
Because this girl deserves the truth.
Because she deserves the truth.
Because we all deserve the truth.
I mean, again, this is going to play during the Super Bowl.
Alex, remarkably powerful. I mean, just reacting to it in real time with you, maybe one of the most powerful Super Bowl ads I've ever seen. Most of those ads are about commercial products. This is one of the biggest controversies in modern American political history. And to see the victims take the stage in that moment, I think is remarkable. It's probably going to lead to another wave of calls, bipartisan calls, for more transparency out of the Justice Department.
I'm just saying that if I were president and a former best friend of mine was in prison, I wouldn't care who they were, what our past is. If I was president, I would make sure that the information that we needed out of Jeffrey was going to be gotten. And so I would have pulled out all the stops to make sure he had extra security and protection. But instead, Trump's DOJ under Bill Barr is trying to say that it was just rampant failures within the system. and these failures were already there before Trump arrived, and they just happened to be even worse when Trump was president, because we know how incompetent he is. And so that's going to be a story that does fly. Yeah. So JE was, taken care of because of incompetence, and not incompetence on Trump's behalf, but of the prison system that was legally responsible for him. But that still goes back to Donald Trump was the most powerful person in the world when his former bestie was locked up in 2019, and he had the power to step in and do something about securing his safety, yet he didn't. And this was the most high profile criminal that could have been prosecuted under Trump's first term for horrific sex crimes. And remember, sex trafficking is something that Trump said that he was going to go after big time. And he kind of did a little bit, and I think it was more for show than anything, not to actually get something good done. So if he promised to go after sex traffickers and he had Jeffrey Epstein in a prison cell, wouldn't it be of the utmost imperative importance to make sure he stayed alive and get him in front of a judge? And remember, Jeffrey had already had a trial. He was already on the registry, the sex offenders registry, and he was really pissed off about that. But he got a sweetheart deal. He got a work release. I mean, look how they're treating Ghislaine Maxwell. Do you think that Jeffrey Epstein would really himself in lieu of getting a sweetheart deal a second time? I mean, look how they've treated Ghislaine. Doesn't she have like a puppy in prison now? Come on.
Steve Bannon met Jeffrey Epstein, and on that occasion, actually, the first thing that Steve Bannon said to Jeffrey Epstein was, "You were the only person I was afraid of during the campaign," meaning the 2016 campaign. Now, I know he said this because I was standing there. And during that time, they were as close as you could possibly be. I think that it was the central relationship, the longest lasting relationship and the most influential relationship in the lives of both men as he began his political career. And Jeffrey Epstein, from the beginning, said Donald Trump, if he goes through with this, will be the president of the United States.